One. What's up, man? Hey, I want to first welcome EP, as I know him, Esteban Perez, to off the record podcast, man. Thanks for agreeing to this, bro. First of all,
Hey, thanks
um,
for having me, man. Thanks for having
yeah,
me. It's a pleasure.
I've
I always want to
known
help.
I've known EP for since what, freshman year? It's been a minute.
Freshman year in high school,
Freshman year of high school. So it's been like what?
graduated 5 years ago, 9 years.
Dang, I've known you for 9 years,
Jeez.
dog. That's
Yeah,
crazy. Yo, we've had some
nine
cool
years,
times.
bro.
Bro,
Yes,
you know
sir.
what's funny? Remember that one time at your house, bro? I'm not even gonna go into details, but when we turn on the light,
Bro, don't chill.
I'm just kidding, man. Hey, I've known him for a
Yeah,
minute. We got some
that's a
stories.
funny story. That's a funny story.
That's for next podcast for sure.
That's a good
Hey,
story.
dude. Well, first I want to let you know what Off the Record's about. And so, Off the Record
Yeah.
podcast is about highlighting people who make impact off the record, who not only make
Mhm.
impact outwardly towards the public, but have chose to make impact in themselves.
Yeah.
And I've always said that change needs to start with yourself before you could change the world. Like I just
hmm
believe that, you know. Um, dude. So I mean, what do you think about that? Like, have you like, what do you think about that concept of the podcast? Like, I'm stoked about it, and I'm stoked to have you on. But what do
hmm
you think about that concept?
I love the concept. It's very interesting about focusing on people that are doing things behind the scenes, maybe like not when all the shines on them or the lights are on them, and they're still, got their head down, getting this work done.
Yeah,
Even when they're not being praised for it, which is what a lot of people won't get the work done unless they're getting praised for it. So it takes a special person to work in the dark.
that's true, man. That's true. Well,
hmm
you have a pretty big story, man, and I've been able to see it, knowing you for so long. And
hmm
a lot of your homies have been by your side, being able to see that story too. Would you mind sharing just a little about your life-changing story, bro? I know, just give
Um,
us a little recap.
yeah. So mine starts with it's my weight loss journey. Goes back to high school, our sophomore year of high school. I think it was. I was joining the wrestling team, and the heavyweight class was set at 285 pounds. That was the weight limit for the weight you could compete at. And I remember first day of wrestling practice, I weighed myself, and I was 327 pounds. Uh, so then it started from there. So from 327 throughout high school, I cut weight. I got down to about 265. And I stayed at about 260 to 265 for
Dang.
the remainder of high school. So I lost a good amount of weight.
Yeah,
Uh, I lost a good, like what's that,
that's
50?
over 60 pounds, bro. That's about like,
So yeah, something like that. I'm not a math major. I wouldn't
yeah,
know.
yeah, me either.
um, so yeah, left high school at about 260, 265, and then just started drinking and eating and not taking care of myself after high school. So like 2 years after high school, I went from having cut down to 265 to then turning around and looking at the scale and having to be 350 pounds
Damn.
at one of my heaviest.
Yeah.
And that was after I had started like my weight loss. So I think maybe my actual heaviest might have been closer to like 360.
Yeah.
Um, and then I just started just telling myself like, all right, well, enough is enough. You just got to get it done. There's no other way. Like
Yeah.
you got to start. So just do it. Made some lifestyle changes. Uh,
Before.
the biggest changes were probably like mindset changes
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
helped me go down. But I've been working at it for a couple years, and now I'm down to like 250 pounds. So I'm like a little
Hey.
over 100 pounds lost, uh, and it's been life changing to say the least. Yeah.
Yeah, dude, I want to ask, before making that decision, and not just that decision, before actually doing it, when you actually
Yeah.
started doing it, what kind of challenges were going through your mind? Like, before anybody starts anything, I imagine, when I start something new, it feels like, I mean, this wasn't even new to you. You've done it before, but before
hmm
starting it again, it's what went through your mind? Like, was there things going through your mind that just kind of maybe made you pause a little bit?
I mean, I feel like it's the same thing that a lot of people go through. It's when starting something that takes such a long time and takes such hard dedication, and it takes work every single day over a long period of time.
Yeah.
People just get overwhelmed, and I was overwhelmed too. Looking at myself being so overweight, thinking like, there's no way I could ever get in shape.
Mm,
I'm way too far gone. Like, it's gonna take forever. Like, I
yeah.
won't ever be able to reach it. This is like impossible. Just kind of putting myself down before I even give it a shot,
Yeah.
uh, and like stopping myself before I
Mm,
even. I think that was the biggest like issue at first, but take it day by day. Just got
yeah.
it done.
I feel like I feel like for myself as well, like I'm probably my worst enemy.
Yeah,
Like
hundred
like
percent,
like
100%.
realizing that nobody gives a crap about what I'm doing. Like
Oh yeah, one
it's
hundred
gonna be
percent.
about me, you know?
Mhm.
Um,
And
so
it's a struggle within yourself. It's a struggle
yeah,
within yourself because, like you just said, no one cares about what's on, and like no one, like,
yeah.
people aren't that focused on you. So it's just a struggle within yourself to have to pull yourself out of it. Just get it
So
done.
so what have you seen? Like you have this crazy journey, bro, that I'm sure people I told you before the podcast, like I've been starting to call it quarantine 15, just
Yeah,
like freshman 15. And people are going into quarantine. But I mean, outside of that, like what else do you feel like changed in your mind where you're able to like you've conquered this huge task, not even just task, this huge life-changing
hmm
goal that you had, and now it became a lifestyle. And so what else do you feel like you conquered while doing this? By conquering that, what else do you feel that you conquered?
I feel like the biggest thing I had to conquer was just conquer my own mind,
Hmm.
uh, and having a good mindset and having like the right mentality towards uh, such a big goal and such a goal that it's going to take a lot of work.
Yeah.
Uh, just getting that mindset of not coming up with excuses and just getting it done, like one way or another. There's
Yeah.
no ifs, ands, or buts. Get the work done.
That's tight.
No matter what it takes. If you got to wake up early today, if you got to lose a little bit of sleep, if you don't have to sleep or whatever it takes, just
Yeah.
getting it done.
Yeah.
Just
How do you have like
finding that
routines or
time.
anything that you do? Like, or do you how do you do this every day? Like, how do you have a schedule, workout routine? What you got?
I do have like I've been through different routines, different like schedules, different like, oh, training at these times or these times, like early in the morning or really late at night. But I would say that that just comes down to what's going on in your life at that time, and that's what's gonna adjust it. Like if you're either going to school or your job,
Yeah.
but the key factor is a lot of people think it's like motivation,
Mm,
uh, and I would say it's just that determination and discipline matter more,
yeah.
because I'm not motivated every single day. There's days where I wake up and I'm like, oh man, I don't want to work out today. I'm not trying to eat clean. I just want to
Yeah.
eat whatever and be lazy and play video games all day. And like
Yeah.
the gym is the last thing on my mind,
Yeah.
and I have zero motivation. But then that's when that work ethic and
Mm,
that determination, and like I know what goals I've set for myself. So
yeah.
then that's when I kind of just kick myself in the ass and tell myself, hey,
Yeah.
too bad. You got to get it done. Like there's this kind of stuff takes work. So you got to put your head down. You got to grind. No excuses.
Hey, thanks for that. Thanks for the honesty because I feel like some people, myself listening, like sometimes you look at other people from the outside and think, yo, they're on it every day. Like they're
Oh,
disciplined
no.
every
Yeah.
day, every second. And people low key front that they are, you know? Like
Oh, 100%.
you'll see like on YouTube, you look up a motivational video on YouTube, they say wake up at 4 a.m. and you're like, yo, I could barely wake up at 10. It's in quarantine. And so like there's this expectation that like society has put us at to where that if you're
hmm
not doing that, it feels like you're not doing anything. Does that make sense?
hmm Yeah. Yeah. 100%. And for a lot of people, seeing stuff like that, they might want to like jump from, like 100, from 0 to 100, and
Yeah.
start waking up at 3 a.m., 4 a.m., and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
I think it's more important to just build those habits and build a lifestyle, and eventually wanting to wake up at 4 a.m. or like wanting to wake up at 5, it becomes something that I wouldn't say pleasurable, but it's more manageable because you've already built up the lifestyle that will help you be in the best position to do that,
Yeah. Yeah. You said lifestyle a couple of times. Talk about your lifestyle. Like, what does your lifestyle look like? I know not just within working out, but like within, or even just healthy eating or anything that just regards health. But what does your lifestyle look like? How are you staying like sane during this quarantine? How you staying fit? How you stay mentally, challenged?
I mean, realizing that, like, what could there's nothing you could do about it.
Yeah.
There's nothing. The circumstances that we're all in, while they suck, like there's nothing. Well, you could stay home, but you can't just, I can't snap my fingers and just have everything fixed. So this is something
Yeah.
you have to deal with. Uh, and when you have an obstacle like that, what other choice you got, man? You gotta roll
Yeah.
with the punches. You just gotta get it done. Like, I've seen a lot of people. Yeah, a lot of people have been gaining like a good amount of weight during this quarantine, and they've just been staying home. I would just recommend people just start doing something. Like
Yeah.
get creative. Get some water jugs, or just like myself. When this first happened, I put a 50-pound bag of dog food inside of a suitcase,
Hey.
and I just started throwing that thing around. Just kind of getting creative and just finding ways. I
Yeah.
always think that the people that really want it, the people that really have goals and want to achieve them, they'll always find a way.
Yeah.
Excuses don't exist in those kind of people's minds.
Yeah, that's true, man. I during when this all happened, I there was one question that like came into my mind, or what is one thought, and I'm like, people hate change.
Oh,
Like,
100%.
but that's the only thing in one of my friends, Mark, he's listening probably. He said the one thing that we can count on that's consistent in life, the only thing probably that's consistent in life is change. And he's like,
Hmm.
there will always be change. And this was just a change that I don't think, obviously, no one was expecting it. Like, there's no way we could have like looked at our calendars and been like,
Hmm.
quarantine starts this day 3 years ago. So, how do you fight uncertainty? Like, how do you fight? How do you even? I don't even know if that's a question, but how do you fight not knowing what's a year from now, and being able to, or not knowing what's a week from now? Oh shoot, how do
Yeah.
you fight that?
Well, I mean, I feel like the answer's in the question itself. You don't know.
Yeah,
You don't know what's going to happen. So you can't plan to have a certain reaction. You're going to have to know that whatever happens, just like this, this is the best example of this stuff that's going on right now, and like how all of our lives have changed.
yeah,
But then you just gotta get it done. You gotta roll with the punches and just figure out the ways. We get creative, like with all this stuff. Like, look at us now. We're doing a little conference over Zoom. So,
yeah, yeah,
and any other day we'd be doing this in person, but you just
yeah,
gotta adapt and just roll with the punches. I would
yeah,
say that's the best way I've dealt with uncertainty and stuff like that. Just knowing that you can't do nothing to change it, you can't do nothing to fix it, so you can't do nothing to avoid it.
yeah.
So just roll with the punches.
What else, man? We're wrapping up some of the things I had, but is there anything you want to share with the viewers that kind of just will inspire them? Maybe even talk about a little about lifestyle a little bit, or mindset you want to share lastly?
I would go back to mindset.
Yeah,
I feel like that's very, very important, and a lot of people don't. They're afraid of work. They're afraid of having to put in long hours into something. And this is not everyone. It's only certain people like this in the world. But people want things easy, I believe.
yeah, yeah,
So that's why, like, a lot of people want things like very fast, very easy, and they need to understand that, like, it's a marathon. It's not a
yeah,
sprint.
yeah,
So it's just consistency, and to stay consistent over time. To just keep your head down and work.
yeah.
That's it. That's my only advice for people. Just keep your head down and work, man.
Yeah, man, you got to get that work in. Well, dude, hey, we're
Hmm.
wrapping it up. This is Off the Record podcast with Esteban Perez, man. I'm super excited to
Hmm.
share this, bro.
Hmm.
You heard his story, over, man, 100 pounds lost. He's maintained
Yes,
it.
sir.
And he's not only become an inspiration for himself, but he's beginning to inspire his homies, man. I see him at 24 Hour Fitness all the time when this quarantine wasn't over. um,
Hmm.
Worked out with them a couple of times, and I think we could learn something from all this, bro. even in
Hmm.
uncertainty, you find a way to adapt, like no doubt,
Oh, always, always, always. And I'm
always.
always willing to help people out too. So if anyone needs anything, you can
Yeah,
reach
man.
out.
I'm gonna throw up his
I'm always
Instagram
willing.
handle. You can go ahead and follow EP on Instagram. He's been posting all kinds of stuff. And most importantly, man, he's a huge advocate for mindset and lifestyle. And so go ahead and hit him up. EP,
Yes,
thanks,
sir.
man. Appreciate you, bro. It
Yeah,
was a
no problem,
pleasure.
brother. Anytime.
Yeah, man. All right, let's figure out how to end this podcast.